Many years after the Malawi High Court ordered a radical reform on the poor conditions of imprisonment, prisoners continue to find themselves in inhumane and degrading conditions that are harmful to the reformative aims of imprisonment and a threat to public health. Dr. H. Kanyongolo is a professor of law at Chancellor College, the University of Malawi. During Malawi's era as a one-party state, he was imprisoned for 15 months between 1983 to 1984 as a political prisoner.
It was another world, completely another world. I mean, in the morning, 10 o'clock, you are sitting in a university classroom, having a lecture. A few hours later, you are being pushed into a room with absolutely nothing in it. Absolutely nothing in it. It's a bare room and you're locked down.
Harrison Masangano spent 15 years in prison for armed robbery at Zomba, CHREAA and Mikuyu prisons.
Yeah, the conditions, honestly, very poor. Beyond I can say beyond human living. Something that you can't even imagine.
Boxten Kudziwe was arrested in 2006 and charged with murder and armed robbery. He remained in prison until 2013 on remand. When he finally faced trial, he was acquitted of both charges and released an innocent man. He spent 7 years and 6 months awaiting trial at the CHREAA prison.
To me, I take prison conditions as a trap to human living. The conditions is more than worse. I remember during this period of 2006 to 2014, a lot of people has lost their lives, burst in prison, serving their sentences or awaiting trial.
The food, the first day I didn't eat. Clearly because this is not the food I'm used to.
Yeah.
I mean, the first food I remember being brought in was a plate of nsima. A big plate of nsima, not a plate, I mean there was some kind of pot, little pot. There's nsima there, and then there are vegetables on top of it. And essentially it's the way you kind of feed a dog.
It is poor on both quantity and quality. The preparation is safe of this local food is not that of standard for the human living.
At least I can have that mind of comparing that it's just an issue of saying it. But otherwise, it's beyond that. We could sleep on an empty stomach.
So how many days would that happen?
3 days. Maybe on the 4th day, we could be provided with porridge.
So what do you have? You have a bucket in the cell. Quite frankly, of all my experiences for 15 months, if there is something that captures the inhumanity of treating a person, or the meaning of inhumanity, dehumanizing, I discovered it there. I think for me, nothing else throughout my experience represents that dehumanizing effect, where you are compelled to sit on a toilet in front of 8 people, you have diarrhea. I mean, I think the rest I leave to your imagination, but that sanitation was poor. In terms of having a bath, I think in Zomba, where I spent a week, I think we didn't have a bath at all. There was simply no facility for bathing. Once we were taken to a tap, a standalone tap in the Ghana, and told, well, you can have a bath there. I mean, on it, it's just a little tap.
Whereby in each and every night, people do wait on a line to assist themselves or at the toilet.
But the sanitation, coming back to the specific issue of sanitation, was extremely poor. But not just poor in a health kind of way, but also poor in terms of its failure to respect human dignity and the right to privacy. So there's a bucket there, everybody's doing their business, and in the morning one of you is assigned to carry it and then empty it. And so we took turns to do this.
Imagine 200 inmates using one cabin.
Whereby someone have to utilize the very same blanket for both covering and also using it as mat just to avoid the pains from the grounds, from the concrete cement.
This part got so hardened that essentially I think it died. I'm not feeling it. Just like sometimes, with a corn, you can even cut it with a razor blade. We sat there and cut parts of this because it just had become so hard. I mean, you could literally just sleeping on the floor was not easy. Sleeping on the concrete floor for 15 months was not easy at all.
Prisoners are people. They have families and lives, and have the capacity to grow, change, and dream for their futures. Some people survive these conditions, but the effects are lifelong.
I think though the most serious was the psychological. Nobody ever talked about it. Up to now, nobody ever talked about it. You go to jail, you get released, and it's assumed you are thrown into the world. So nobody knows. I mean, what 15 months did to me. What did 15 months do in terms of how I view people? I mean, do I trust people at all? Do I ever really get excited emotionally and so on? I think, I'm no psychologist, but I think that when I came out, I became a little colder. I mean, about humanity, etc.
First, in 2 years' time of my imprisonment, my wife sold my house, which was located in Bangwe, and from there she left. And she left my 2 daughters with my parents, who were aged by then, who had no any source of assistance. And this made my time in prison very hard. And I recall in 2008 I ended up inviting my uncle to take the responsibility of my daughters, that he can maybe maintain them to still proceed with their education. Fortunately, the elder daughter dropped out of school due to lack of resources and assistance. But to me, I would have to say prison has distorted my life and my future. It's a negative, because even up to date, and I go into prison for some other duties, I do feel myself depressed. And sometimes I do affected with that psychological experience and with traumatic feeling, I don't even fail even to charge my duties, because sometimes I do fail to get asleep. Just thinking of this period when I was in prison.
Does affect me completely and negatively, for that matter. What I mean is, I don't even feel anything good about the prison experience. Why? It's a life that sometimes makes me feel angry. And I even don't want to imagine that prison experience anymore. I don't. And with that emphasis, I don't.